So hi Manish, how are you doing today? We are so glad to have you on the Sankalp show.
Thank you, Sankalp, for having me here. And I think it is going to be a great session, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for
Absolutely.
inviting.
Absolutely. So first of all, Manish, I would just love to know more about you. Like, what do you really do, and how did you really reach up to a point where you are, and maybe a little, things from your past, if you would love to share that.
Sure. So I'll share my story. Uh, so I come from a Sindhi middle class business family, right? A family wherein you would not find people doing jobs or something of that sort. We are basically entrepreneurs, small or big, that's a different thing. But
Yeah, absolutely.
everybody has his own shop and doesn't really believe in having cushy jobs or something of that sort. We have been into the business space from ages, right? So even my father was a businessman. He had his shop of Rajasthani bed quilts in Jaipur.
Oh wow.
So even, I mean, my destiny was also decided that I'll also be in that particular shop or probably open a new shop, but then something related to business itself, the family business. But when I was 9 years old, my father expired. So we were in kind of doldrums, right? We did not have that kind of a money. Plus, I was good in studies as well, right? So I thought I'll not go for, and obviously there was some kind of capital that is required when you open a shop or do a
Absolutely.
business. I did not have that kind of capital at that point of time. Luckily, I
Mhm.
did my CA as well in first attempt. So by the age of 21, I had become a CA. So it was very
Oh,
I thought it was very prudent for me to go for something which my family did not agree for, but then that's what I wanted to do. So I did my CA and did a job for 1 year. And the job was also very basic. I mean, what every CA would do: accounting,
mm.
finance, auditing, taxation, all these things, right?
Mhm.
But after working 1 year in that particular company, after doing my CA, I realized that this is not I really want to do for the rest of my life, right? So I started exploring what should I do next. I went to Gurgaon and joined another company, and there I was able to learn the nuances of business, how the funding is done, how people pitch to investors,
Okay.
and specifically angel investors. My
Basically, the
boss was an
modern,
angel investor.
yeah, the modern kind of
Yes,
business, terminologies and
right, the
stuff.
modern kind of business. Exactly. And so it was very exciting for me. So I learned the nuances of business, how due diligences are done, and how
Mhm.
businesses are really run, how an entrepreneur comes to an investor and how he pitches his business idea. So I was
Okay.
able to learn that in that particular job. Then I moved to a big four, KPMG, wherein I learned things about risk consulting, right?
Mhm.
Then I had to come back to my hometown Jaipur. And when I came back to my hometown Jaipur, I was lucky enough to work for a very, I would say, hyper growth stage startup called Car. Today they have turned
Oh,
out to be
awesome.
a $1 billion
Yeah,
company now,
yeah,
kind of
unicorn.
a unicorn now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but at that point of time, it was a hyper growth company. They had just raised their
Okay,
Series A, and
okay.
I was spearheading their new car division, right? So I went into actual sales, how actual sales is done, and how deals are done, and how B2B sales is done. So I was doing that part of things there.
Awesome.
Then in 2017, in fact, in 2016 itself, people wanted people. I mean, there was a new wave of GST in India. In
Yeah,
2017, it came.
yeah, we will definitely come to that. Okay. First, I have like a couple of things to get clear. Okay, so like you told that you come from a typical business family, right? From your family was doing business since ages, right? And I come from a family where the people just do the jobs, and the whole aim is to get better at jobs, and get better and in their hierarchy, and things happen, right? So, what difference? And I'm sure that being a kid, you got really matured at a very early age. And I would say that what differences do you feel, from a kid coming out from a business family versus as a kid who comes out from a job-oriented family or a job mindset or and the business mindset? So, what difference do you exactly feel, right from your practical knowledge?
Okay, so I think since I come from a business family, so I have that business running in my blood, right?
Mhm.
So the way I do in fact, I'm in a job as of now, right? But the way I kind of pursue my job or pursue my work is very, I would say, entrepreneur-like, right? So I always think of ideas wherein I can do better for my company. I can help my company grow more revenue. So I'm always thinking about more revenue and more profits. As compared to anybody who's been always been in a job or comes from a job from family who has been always doing a job, probably he or she might be thinking of excelling in their job as such. But I have that kind of a mindset wherein I'm not just thinking about excelling in my job, but I'm also thinking about how my company could do better. I've always believed that if you are a profit center, right, nobody can touch you in your job. You have to be a profit center, never be a cost center in a job. If you are a cost center, it's very likely that that person will get retrenched very easily. If things go south, the first thing anybody would do is to cut off their
Cut off their
costs, right? So
yeah.
cost center will always be at that risk, but a profit center will never be at that risk. So
Mhm.
I've always believed that you be a profit center and try and earn more revenues and more profits for your company. Whatever you're doing,
Okay.
I'm not saying you have to be a business head like me to think
Yeah.
about P&L, but you can start from scratch. I mean, 9 years back, I was not what I am today, right? But
Mhm.
I was thinking in a similar fashion, right? I've always
Mhm.
believed that you are a CEO or you're not a CEO, you have to think like a CEO. So
Exactly.
that's
Absolutely.
a difference that I have seen.
Mhm. Okay, so how did you come across the CA kind of path? Like I know that being a businessman, you were more inclined towards the commerce side, and the difference that comes up in 11th standard that okay, this is where we have to get divided, right? So, but didn't you feel that because I know that I have a couple of friends who are CAs, and even becoming a CA is a very tough job in nowadays, and I have seen that the struggle of becoming a CA is not as glorified and as compared to that of an IIT JEE engineering college or the medical NEET exam, right? But I know that it's equally difficult, or maybe if I'm not wrong, it's kind of more difficult than that. So tell us something about like how difficult it is first of all, because you cleared it in the first attempt. So I'm assuming that you must be really good with your studies. So I'm sure that you must have analyzed your own self as well, that okay, I'm good at these many things and I have come across so many things, right? So how difficult it is for a normal person to to become a CA, and what difficulties does a student really faces?
Okay. So just to answer your first question, why I chose CA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are pretty much three reasons for me choosing a CA course. Number one, obviously I come from a business family, so yeah, there was an inclination towards CA, right? Second, obviously because of my business background. Secondly was I did some maths when I cleared my 12th, right? So my maths was if I do MBA from a reputed institution, it would obviously cost me more money, and money was a problem at that point of time. And second thing was it would take me 5 years to start earning. How? 3 years of graduation and 2 years of MBA. But CA as a course, if you do it in first attempt, you can do it in four years. And I wanted to earn as soon as possible,
As soon as
right?
possible.
So that was also a reason that I chose CA. And third thing was, the cost that in which you do CA is very, very less as compared to doing your graduation plus your MBA, right? So I think these were the three reasons because of which I chose CA. Now, what difficulties I faced when I was in a journey to become a CA was number one, there was no guidance as such for me, right? Because I come from a business family. Whenever I would have gone to my cousins or my uncles, they would have always said ki kya kar raha hai, let's apna ek shop teko khulwate hain and start doing
Yeah.
that, which your cousins are also doing, right?
Yeah.
So that there was no guidance as such. That was the biggest problem. Second thing was, of course, it is considered as one of the difficult courses in not just in India but across the world.
Overall, yeah.
So you have to take a lot more hard work, and not just in studies. There is an articleship, or which you call it as internship in MBA. It's a
Okay.
3.5 years long internship that you need to do in CA, right?
Okay.
So that's also a very difficult part. But as you say that, I always believe that there's no alternative to hard work. The more you work hard, more luckier you get. And I think I was lucky as well as I did my hard work to become a CA. So that's how I was able to become a CA, and And after that, there has been no looking back. By God's grace, everything has been good.
Yeah, great, man. That's really inspiring because, like even I have a couple of my brothers who are CA, and my friends who are pursuing that, and I've seen that. Okay, I come from an engineering background, like I'm pursuing engineering, so I know what kind of difficulties that does an engineer or a person who becomes doctor has to face, because I come from a science background. But becoming a CA is equally difficult. I realized this over a time, or over the time when I started out in my own college, right? So I thought, okay, oh my God, like this is very much similar to preparing, just like the way IIT guys do that, right? So you were saying that you were saying about the GST part when I interrupted you, so you can just go ahead with that.
Right. Sure. So 2017 GST came into picture, right?
Yeah.
But the GST network, the nodal agency for GST, was established in 2016, right?
Okay.
Since then, technology companies were creating applications for GST, application for all the transactions that would be covered in GST and all those things, right? And they were looking for people like me who would understand sales, who would be a CA, and that's why they would understand taxation. That means a kind of a domain knowledge person. And third, they were looking for somebody who had that kind of hunger to do something different from what they were doing. And luckily, I met a founder, and we exchanged ideas, and then I left Cardeco and joined this company called KDK Software. It's one of the application providers in GST space, and they've been also tech software providers from many years, right? So I joined them. We created a product for GST. It was a cloud product. That was also a first time that I helped creating a product, right? I was actually playing the role of a product manager. So I helped creating a product. Then we created a strategy, how to go to market. We did excellent sales in that particular year, and in fact, a following year. And after that, I joined a GST Suvidha provider. So what is a GST Suvidha provider is, in GST again, there are two kinds of player. One is called ASP, the application service provider, which gives you the UI for filing your returns. And second is the GSP, which was KDK, my previous company. Okay. But what is a GSP? Somebody who is connecting with the ASP to the GST network, right? You cannot interact with GST network unless you use the APIs of this GSP. Right. Okay. So then I joined this company called Vayana Network, which is today's India's largest GSP, and I had the GST business there. And I think that's how my GST journey has been. I think it has been phenomenal. I've learned many things in this GST journey, that I've created products. I've helped people or companies go to market their own product, and not just having a go-to-market strategy, but actually taking things from 0 to 1 and then 1 to 10. So overall, it has been a fantabulous experience, I would say. It has been great. I mean, the learnings have been absolutely immense. And because of this, I think I've been able to create a personal brand also for myself. Because there are not many people who would understand taxation as well as do sales, right? Absolutely. So that's why I've been able to kind of create a distinct personal brand for myself.
Yeah. So yeah, like as you told that, there were two types of GST thing, and but what I have come out of this is that when you left your previous company and then when you joined the another one, and there your role certainly like changed. Like you became you worked as a product manager as well, and I think that and that was definitely not your domain, right? And I think that's what the growth lies, right? Because I believe that I have also worked in multiple startups as an intern, and worked in different industries, right? Related to of course, it was related to technology, but I have done with multiple roles, right? So I believe that whenever and it was your turn to to show up every single day and do the best out of it, right? So I think that is as you mentioned about the hunger part of doing something good and thinking like a CEO, right? So I'm pretty sure the founder whose company it is, and he must be really glad to have you on board. And I believe that whenever you do stuff on your own, by your own, and for the world, it was kind of a startup only. Although you joined as a product manager, but you treated it like a startup. And I always say this, that no matter, even if you are working as an employee, or even if you are, you have joined some company, always work with full attention and with proper attitude, because that's how you ultimately grow, right? So
True, sir.
With all this trajectory, I have also seen that you are slowly, gradually, a little more, moving towards the technology side. Yeah, I mean, you are interested in technology, at least. That's what I can, take it out from it,
True.
right? So, why so? First of all, because you are a CA, right? Right. I mean, I'm not I'm not limiting your abilities, but you're a CA because
I
that's what
agree.
I have experienced, right? Because and whatever I have experienced, I'm just speaking it up to you, right? Because
Sure, sure.
so
I get
why?
this question multiple times, so
Yeah,
I completely understand.
yeah. So why are you
So,
moving more towards the tech part?
Sankalp, this tech part, the question on tech part, I completely understand. Why would a CA be more involved in technology, right? Why would he be happy to do tech projects and not
Yeah.
normal finance? So, completely understand your question. See, I think I think the answer to this question would lie on my internship experience. So, when I did
Okay.
my 3.5 years of internship,
Mhm.
I was lucky enough to get projects like, I mean, I am sure none of my peers were having these kind of projects. So I was doing what do you call it as unit testing for a application for a very large jewelry company. They used to
Okay.
call it as Swarn and Abhushan. Swarn was for raw materials, and Abhushan was
Okay.
for their finished products, right?
Okay.
So I was my first project was to do unit testing or UAT for them. So I started understanding technology. Okay, there
Mhm.
has to be some kind of an application, and there would be a domain guy who would tell you how to make this application. Then there would be a tech guy who would be creating this application. Then there would be a person who on the user side who would be testing this application, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went full circle on that particular project to understand everything about this. Second was again during my internship itself, there was one more project that I did, which was more or less inclined towards creating an application from scratch. So my
Okay.
principal,
Okay.
under whom I was doing my articleship, wanted to create an application for taxation filing, right?
Mhm.
So from there also I got to pick up some brains that how to create an application as such. So because of this articleship experience, I think I got this opportunity to work in tech projects, as well as I created some kind of a liking as well for technology, right? And then slowly and steadily, when I was working for multiple companies, I realized that in order to be successful, you have to do two important things. One, you have to be a profit center, as I said. You have to know sales, you have to do marketing. That's important. Second is, since I was working with engineers, mostly I was interacting with engineers. I think they also gave me such confidence that I can also contribute to in technology. So I think these were the reasons that I was able to kind of create a thought process for myself that
Mhm.
I can also do technology, I can understand technology, and that's how it is. I mean, because of the
Yeah.
experience on
Totally
articleship as
agree.
well as my job, I think
Yeah.
that way I was able to get this experience.
Yeah. So do you think that it has changed the way you look at things? Because in my personal case, like I started out with technology and coding right after I entered into my college. Like before that, in school days, I never used to code and never used to do things related to that, right? But as soon as I started coding and I realized what really happens behind the scenes and, how to get the user attention and other things. So it has actually changed me a lot. And I am because of coding, I would say I'm more interested in the understanding human behavior and the psychology of the human beings, right? And so does a similar thing happen with you as well? Because obviously you come from the CA background, but you have done article but you have done your internship in that sector. So I am pretty sure that it must have affected you in some way or the other, if I'm not wrong.
No, you're completely right, Sankalp. So yeah, because of the experiences that I have, because of the people with which I've interacted and I've worked with, they have specifically, I would say, created this kind of a thought in me that anybody can do technology, right? You have to
Yeah,
be just open enough to understand anything, right?
absolutely.
I have sat with multiple designers, multiple
Hmm.
I would say coders, how to code this particular problem and how the solution would look like, how the UI would look like, and how the UX would be there. And I think that has been a sorry, that has been a phenomenal experience as such, interacting with different kinds of people, different people who have never seen finance, and I had never seen technology. And when we both used to sit together, we used to interact, and we used to uh, have such kind of an interaction which was beneficial for both of us, right? The coder would
Absolutely.
understand finance from me, and I would understand coding from him.
Absolutely. And that's the beautiful part, like that's a beautiful part of not knowing things, right? And I believe that technology is something that is open to everybody, right? And this is a trend that actually happens in the computer science world, that we accept people from even if you have a degree or not, you have been to college or not, you have whether or not you are a dropout or not, technology accepts everybody. And as you told, that you just need a proper will to go ahead with whatever is there, and you should be eager to learn how a particular piece of technology really works out, right? And I completely agree to the fact that of course anybody can learn technology. And I have personally seen so many people who who are doing freelancing. They are 15, 16-year-old guys who are they're doing freelancing in terms of different pieces of technology, and they just do not feel that they should actually go to the college, right? uh, and I mean, that's really great. And looking at your looking at you right now, basically, so we have seen that you have given out a lot of speeches in you have been a Josh Talk speaker, and you all have also been a part of a lot of ad campaigns, right? And this clearly indicates that you are really a confident person, and you know how to deal with people on a stage, right? So what do you think, like how important it is for a person to have great communication skills, and what's your take on this, basically?
So I think communication obviously plays a very important role. I believe that everybody today is doing sales, right? So let's take an example, right? If when I became a CA, right, and I was a fresher and I went for a job interview, I was doing sales. I was telling them how I can add value to their organization, right? Since my first job was a finance role, so I was pitching myself as a finance guy, right? When after you gain some experience, right, you go to some other interview as an experienced guy. Again, you are doing sales, right? You're telling them what exactly I've done in my last organization, what will I do for your organization, and how it would be beneficial to your organization, how I can add value, right? My experience can add value to you. If you're going for a date, right, you're doing sales. You're doing
Yeah.
sales in terms of impressing the other person, right?
Yeah.
That how this relationship would go, and how this relationship might be beneficial for both the people, right? So you're doing sales there also. If you are I would say not just interview and dating, etc., you are kind of in an organization, right? You are working in a cross functional kind of a setup, right? So you are doing sales, right? If something comes to your mind, only getting an idea is not important, right? You have to get that idea finished from scratch to end, right? And also make that a profitable idea, right? So again, you are doing sales. You are telling the person that telling your founder or your manager, right, that this is my idea and how I would turn this idea into a great business. So everybody today is doing sales, right? If somebody is interacting with me, they are doing sales. If I am interacting with them, I am doing sales. So everybody is doing sales. And for sales, you need to have a good communication skill, right? And communication skill, I would not say I was a very great communicator in my school days or something of that sort. No, I wasn't. But slowly and steadily, after reading books, after understanding the psychology of people, after understanding how businesses work, after understanding how people think, right? And then adding some kind of an experience as well as some kind of a practice, I was able to communicate well. And because of this communication, people have identified me as a great communicator. And that's why I've got multiple opportunity, right? I have spoken as a keynote speaker in one of these startup events. I am a mentor for at least 8 startups today. 6 of them are in Jaipur, 1 in Pune, and 1 in Mumbai. So and this is because of my communication skills. Third, I was able to pitch myself as a great communicator to LinkedIn also. That's why they featured me, right, in their campaign. Because of all this and all my LinkedIn activities, Josh Talks reached out to me and I gave a Josh Talk speech. So I think communication is important, and you can learn communication. It is not that everybody knows communication. I'm still a learner. I'm still a student. I'm not an MBA that I would have learned it in my school, right? In CA, you don't learn all these things. But then slowly and steadily, I was able to pick up brains from multiple people. I was able to interact with people. I was able to get ideas from them, how they speak and how they interact with people. So this is how it is done. And it is important to be good in communication. Only then you'll be able to articulate your ideas and not just articulate your ideas, but also tell it to the people that this idea would actually work for them.
Absolutely.
So I think it is a very important skill. Everybody should learn sales, learn communication, learn how to execute ideas. These are three major things that I've learned in my 11 years of experience after CA. And I think I'm a 32-year-old guy. Within these 32 years, these are the three things that I have realized that everybody should know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you mentioned that you had been a keynote speaker at Josh Talks, right? So please tell us the experience of how did they reach out to you, and you went to their office, or how was the overall experience? Because, Josh Talk has reached a level of, Indian TEDx kind of a thing, right? So we would love to know more about that.
Right. I completely agree that it's kind of an Indian TEDx as of now. The kind of followership that they have gained in these last 3-4 years, I think it has been phenomenal. Right.
Yeah.
Many businessmen, many influencers have been part of this speakers list, and I think it was an amazing experience to be one of the Josh Talk speakers. So coming to how they reached out to me, right? So again, LinkedIn played a very important role, right? They saw me on LinkedIn. They might have seen one of my posts. They would have then grilled my profile. They would have seen that this guy is a business leader. This guy was also featured on LinkedIn. Has been speaking. Has been doing some kind of speaking assignments also from past multiple years also. So they reached out to me. They asked me if I can come to their studio. I went to the studio. It was a very great setup, I would say. I mean, first of all, I was very, I would say, shy of the entire camera setup and all those things. But then these guys were very nice enough to make me confident. And then they gave me a place, and there were certain audience members as well. Then the recording thing happened. I think it happened for the whole day. There were certain cuts that had to be there, right? Certain things had to be done. And I think it was a great experience, and I'm sure because of the profile that I have on LinkedIn and other social media, I think that has helped me to get this Josh Talk speech as an assignment. And I'm really happy to be a part of Josh Talk speaker. And I think this is a high as of now, for at least for this year. This is the high for me as of now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like being a part of such a great organization of, where the other speaker list is so high that, you actually feel a lot of energy in yourself that, okay, I have, achieved a milestone after this. So all of this could happen, and the underlying factor of all these things was somehow LinkedIn, and moreover, it was around the social media part, right? So since when did you realize that, okay, this is something, the social media part is something which could be leveraged in a way that it could help my own self, right? Because first of all, that, okay, like more and more youth is basically coming up on social media and starting their journey out, right? So how did you get started, first things, and how did you seek an opportunity that, okay, this is something, this is a platform to grow your network and to have more and more number of people to to get a network with, and what are the importance, what is the advice for the new people who are trying to make big on social media?
Okay, so I remember when I started doing sales, right, as my core job, I would say, then I started being more active on social media. So whenever I do something, I always do a kind of a calculation in my mind, right? What would happen in the next 5 years if I keep on doing this? So obviously everybody was active on Facebook, right? Facebook, I would not call it as social media. Everybody is there on Facebook. So I was also there. But then around 5-6 years back, I did some calculation in my mind. Which is the platform that I should focus on? Everybody was talking about personal branding. Everybody was talking about how you can leverage social media, right? But I knew that I never knew what is the right platform for me. Right? So I did some calculation in my mind. Am I smart enough to write down something in 280 characters? It was 140 characters earlier. I wasn't, right? So Twitter was not for me. So I did never join Twitter at that point. Then can I speak for around 15-20 minutes straight in front of the camera on one particular topic? I thought, no, I'm not that kind of a person that I can speak 15 to 20 minutes on a particular topic. Again, YouTube was gone. Then am I presentable enough, smart enough, looking good in front of my mobile camera? I thought, no, I'm not. So that's why Instagram was also ticked off. Then came in LinkedIn, right? So I think you do not need to show your face on LinkedIn. You do not need to speak for 15 minutes on LinkedIn. You do not need to concise your
thoughts
post on 140 or 280 characters. I think, and then I think LinkedIn struck me. I thought it's a very good platform. Let's start exploring LinkedIn. So it started from LinkedIn, right? Now I'm present in all the social media, all kinds of social medias, but it was primarily LinkedIn 5 years back, right? So this is how LinkedIn started. Slowly and steadily, I would say LinkedIn journey, if I could speak in my words, I think was again divided into 3 points. Just like a child, right? It first starts crawling, right? Then starts walking and then starts running. So I would say my LinkedIn journey was also like a child, right? I first started crawling. When I say crawling, I started understanding the algorithm, what LinkedIn actually is, how are people there on LinkedIn, what kind of content they want, and all those things, right? So I was understanding basically. Then I started referring people, right? In my journey, I mean, I started helping people. I started helping people for getting jobs. I started helping people in connecting with each other and all those things, right? And then when everything was done, I was able to create some kind of a mark on LinkedIn. Then I started running, I would say. And I'm today, by grace of God, I've been kind of an established thought leader on the particular space that I write on. So this is how my LinkedIn journey has been. And I think it has been a phenomenal journey since then. After me being featured on LinkedIn, after those talks, and I think it has been a phenomenal journey. I'm sure everybody should be there on social media today if they want to create a personal brand, right? And people do tend to ask me, what do I mean by personal brand? I'm not going by the bookish definition of personal brand. I'm just saying 5 minutes before this call started, whatever you were thinking about me, that's my personal brand. Or 5 minutes before this call started, whatever I was thinking about you, that is your personal brand. And similarly, if I go for a meeting, right? 5 minutes before that meeting start, the client who's waiting for me, whatever he's thinking in his mind about Manish Balani, that's the personal brand of Manish Balani. That's what I believe is, and everybody should create a personal brand, and social media can help you like anything. You can be present on any social media platform as of now. I'm not just advocating about LinkedIn, but LinkedIn has worked for me. Anything else can work for anybody, but you should be present on social media and create a personal brand for yourself.
Absolutely great, and the definition that you give of personal brand is really awesome, because there are a lot of different, hype that has been created around personal brand and stuff like that, and people don't realize that as LinkedIn worked out for you, there could be another platform working out for somebody else, and they tend to not try to focus on that, and they tend to try focus on some other thing, right? So this clash of thoughts really happens among a lot of people, right? And people most of the people still think that social media is just a waste of time, and people just go there to hang out, although a lot of people go there to hang out, but if you just convert that time of hanging out with by interacting with people on a daily basis, I try to seek more opportunities. So I would say that would be a really great shift of mindset in order of social media, right? So moving on, like you come from a business family, we know that you come from business family, you took CA and things happened, right? So you told that business was you have seen businesses right from your very starting of your age, right? So but for the people who who are trying to switch from being a job oriented mindset to a business oriented mindset, what do you think, that is it something that can be learned, like that can be like, is it a skill that can be learned, or is it something that comes like an inheritance from your generations, or maybe from your parents, or is it something that can be learned, or is it something that is inherited completely? So what's your take on this, basically?
True. Great question, Sankalp. So I think if you want to shift your mindset to be a businessman, right? Being a businessman or having a business mindset is important, right? Now, I believe that, I mean, people say that managers can be created, but leaders are always born, right? People say this. But I believe managers can also be created and leaders can also be created. There's nothing that you're born in this kind of a family or you're born with this kind of mindset. That's nothing. That's completely untrue, I would say. If you're very serious on anything, right? I'm not a technology guy. I was never a technology guy, right? But I took keen interest on technology. And today I would say I'm pretty much basic or decent in technology, in understanding technology, in interacting with engineers, in interacting with coders, right? In interacting with UI UX guys, right? So you can learn anything if you have that kind of mindset. That if you want to leave this kind of a mindset, a job kind of a mindset, and then have this business mindset, you can always learn it. There are multiple books that are available. I read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read 0 to 1. These are some of my favorite books, right? And anybody who goes through these business books, I'm sure if they read these books properly and get a just out of these books, I am sure anybody can change their mindset from a job mindset to a business mindset. And when I say, as I said, even during the previous question, when I answered it, I think when I say mindset, it has to be just the mindset. It's not, I'm not advocating that everybody should become an entrepreneur, everybody should become a person who is starting their own jobs. There's a kind of a success porn going on Instagram and Twitter as of now, that you should become an entrepreneur to become successful. No, that's not how it is. You have to be an entrepreneurial mindset, right? It's not necessary that you become an entrepreneur. So if you have that entrepreneurial mindset, I'm sure you can excel in your job, you can excel in whatever you're doing. You have to just shift the mindset, and it can be absolutely learned through books, through reading different kinds of material on the internet, and also listening to podcasts. I'm really a fan of podcasts, and through podcasts I've been able to change myself into a different kind of person that today I am.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it can be absolutely done.
Yeah. Like you mentioned about podcasts, right? And I would love to know more, because I have seen that, podcasts are a lot more time consuming, but I also love listening to a lot of other podcasts. And that was my own also, because they have also changed my life in some way or the other. And that's the reason I started out with my own as well. So how these podcasts, specifically talking about podcasts, okay, just because you mentioned this, how these podcasts are actually helping you out in your career.
Okay, so Sankalp, see what actually happens in a podcast, right? In a podcast, there would be certain questions and there would be certain answers, right? There's nothing rehearsed that anybody is talking about podcast. It's a man-to-man conversation. It's a heart-to-heart conversation that happens in a podcast. So let's assume that you're listening to a podcast wherein you're listening to a person like Kunal Shah, right? Kunal Shah is a great entrepreneur. He's a great investor. He's a great guy as well, right? So I think if he's not rehearsed and he's talking heart to heart with somebody, and you're actually listening to that conversation, that would actually help you. That would actually help you create a different kind of mindset for you, a different kind of thought process as well for you. So I think podcasts are the eighth wonder of the world. And if you want to achieve something, just identify the right podcast, the right person of whom you want to listen to that. And if you start listening to podcasts, you will definitely have a different horizon for yourself. So podcast has actually helped me. And I'm sure if actually somebody takes podcasts seriously and starts listening to them and actually taking notes. I still take notes whenever I hear podcast. I still take notes in my notes app, and then actually reflect upon those learnings. And then I try and inculcate those learning in my day-to-day life. So I think that podcast is the best thing to happen in my life, at least.
Yeah, well, that's really impressive, because I have seen that like most of the people are not really seeing this medium as a main source of learning in a lot of ways, unless they are they are very highly oriented people, and unless these people are they really want to know a lot more about person, and things happen like that, right? So yesterday, when I announced that, okay, we are having you on the show, right? We got some questions from the people around Twitter and Instagram, right? So I would just love to ask them from on their behalf, right? So the very first question, that we have got from Twitter, that is from Webber. He asked that how are you trying to disrupt GST, e-way bills, and e-invoice ecosystem? What needs to be changed and why so?
Great question. I think reflective of somebody has actually taken the pain to go to my profile and seen my profile and all those things. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with this question, frankly. See, what I mean by disrupting, right? Disrupting means whatever has been happening, I'm just trying to change the way things are happening, right? Today, how things happen in the GST space is people go to a specific portal, they kind of fill in details and file their returns, right? That's number one. But I am trying to disrupt the way this is being done. I am trying to ease out things for people so that they do not go to a portal and file things, right? It could be done through an API interaction. It could be through a robotic process automation that it can automatically pick the documents, the right kind of documents and right kind of information from your desktop, and it can be filed automatically. That's the disruption that I'm talking about.
One more point to add here is that just the way you said it, the tech guy inside you is saying all of this because in our technology, in our coding world, it's always there to just reduce the friction as much as possible, and by disrupting, you mean the similar thing, right? Please go on.
Sure, thanks. So that's how I am disrupting the GST space. E-invoice is something wherein you generate a normal invoice and take a download of that particular invoice, again go to a particular folder of a portal and then upload that detail and get an information, or I would say a number back. That's called the e-invoice, the IRN number. Right? That's again a very manual process. I don't like this particular process. How we are trying to disrupt is within your desktop, you have to just drop a particular file, and in the second folder, just like how the Dropbox mechanism works, in the second folder you get the e-invoice. Why do you want to do all these things, right? And even if you are not connected with the internet, this thing would work, right? So this is how we are trying to disrupt the GST, e-way and e-invoice space. That's how we are disrupting, and I think a change is definitely needed, right? The way GST was envisaged is it is in fact is a technology tax. I would not say it is a tax which is indirect tax. No, it is not an indirect. It's a technology tax wherein government wants to actually make sure that whatever is being purchased or sold is actually recorded in one particular place, database, and there are analytics that can come out of it, and they can find out people who are doing fraud or find out what exactly is happening in the Indian economy, right? So I think there is a change needed, and that's why we are trying to disrupt this particular way things are being done presently in India.
Great, man. I'm getting more excited about all of this, connecting business and technology and doing all of this. Yeah. So second question is from Devanshu. He has actually two questions. The first one is the how do we invest in startups like Grow? And the second one is whether we should invest in crypto or not.
So I'll go with the second question first. Okay.
Sure.
So I am also invested in crypto. I have also invested, I would not say a very large amount of money, but a small amount of money in crypto. And the way I see, there are many friends. I know few people who are chartered accountants and are actually working in crypto space, right? And we really interact about crypto and try and exchange our minds in terms of how crypto would be beneficial for the country, right? Crypto as or I would say blockchain as a technology is very important. Everybody, I'm sure after 10 years from now, if we would be speaking, all the applications that we would be using would be on the blockchain technology. Yeah, so technology is fine. Technology is absolutely fine. Cryptocurrency, of course, it is an asset class as of now, but I am not really very bullish on cryptocurrency as such. If you have some money that you can lose, definitely invest in crypto. But in terms of it being an asset class, I will not say that it is a great asset class or people should be investing in crypto. It's some amount of money you want to you are willing to lose that money, just invest in crypto, then forget about it. Don't go with that variation that comes in every single day, right? Otherwise, you will not be able to invest very properly. Just take out one amount that you're fine with losing that amount. Invest in one particular or two particular good currencies that you think would be going up in the next 4 to 5 years. Just invest in that, and after 5 years, check your app and then liquidate that particular asset. because I'm not very bullish about cryptocurrency as a asset class. But technology wise, yes, I think next 10 years, every application that we would be using would be based on blockchain technology for sure.
Absolutely. Great.
Now coming to the first question, right? How should people invest in startups, right? Like Grow or something of that sort, right? See, I have worked with an angel investor. He had, I think, by the time I kind of joined some other company, I think by that time he had invested in some 42 startups. I think what I had learned from him in the way he used to evaluate startups is he always used to ask one specific question: what is your total addressable market? If the total addressable market is huge, even if you're not able to crack it as of now, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, you'll be able to crack it, because the market itself is huge. Even a small fish would be a very large fish one day, right? So if somebody has a very large total addressable market, and if they're doing fine as of now, that's great. I mean, that's the best startup investment that anybody can do. But even if the total addressable market as of now is huge and they have not captured that point of that kind of market, still I think it's a fairly good investable startup. So I think that's how I would also evaluate a startup, and that's how my previous boss used to evaluate startups and invest in them. So I think that's important, having a very large total addressable market.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much for answering these questions, Manish. And with this, like you talked about your investment journey, right? We slowly, gradually moved from crypto to investments, right? And being a CA, being the person of the fintech part, I would love to know how what is the right age to start investment, how, because most of my audience is a youth and they're just in their 20s to 24 year of age group, right? So I would love to know how a person who has never invested, or even who is investing right now, how should they really go ahead with that, and so that it will be beneficial for them in the longer run. And even if people who are doing, who are just high on their dopamine stuff, that okay, they trade like they trade crazy amounts, right? So how does the scenario looks like, and how do you advise to them?
Okay, so I think personal finance is a very dear subject to me. I really like talking about personal finance and investing. One thing that I mean, I would be talking very different from what you see on the internet today, right? People say that the right age to invest was yesterday, the right day to invest was yesterday, right? But I believe, and I have also personally seen this, that the right time of investing is when you have some kind of a good capital available with you, first of all, right? I would not see, I started earning when I was at the age of 21, right? But my first investment was not stock, or I did not invest it in FD. My first requirement was an AC in my home, right? My mother had I mean, she has been a very great support for me, right? And I remember when I was studying for my CA finals, there was a cooler at my home, and she gave that cooler to me, and she went to some other room, right? So my first salary should have been that AC. I knew that my mother has sacrificed for me. That first AC is the first it was not a luxury. I would not say it was a luxury. It was a priority for me. So first, get your things in order, your house in order, give best kind of treatment to your parents, to your partner, and that's the first and foremost thing that you need to do, right? Then when you have some amount left, then start investing. That's what I wanted to clear the air that people see on the internet. That's not the right. You earn 5,000 today and you start investing at 5,000. No, give a great credit to your parents for that 5,000, so that they really love and they really enjoy that my son or my daughter is actually doing something, right? So it is important to make your family proud. It is important to make your family's life sorted, and then start investing. That's number one. And once you've done that, right? I think I have always been a fan of fixed income, right? I would say my portfolio would consist of today the portfolio has changed, but initially my portfolio was 50% fixed income and 50% variable or stocks or something of that sort. See, why you should have fixed income investments in your portfolio is that you never know, right? Nobody can predict how the stock market would go. Nobody can predict how the bond market would go, or the bonds are actually safe or not. But fixed deposits, PPFs, PFs, these are actually something that we have seen since ages, that they have actually given very low amount of investment returns, but they have actually given some returns. So you should have some kind of a money that should be there on in the fixed income stream.
Absolutely.
Then I think stocks and probably crypto are that you can do it. And still, I would say, in fact, 90% of my total stock portfolio, I'm not talking about my 90% of my portfolio, 90% of my stock portfolio still consists of 60% of mutual funds, right? Because I have to ride on the expertise of others, right?
Absolutely.
If I have some stocks that I understand, I've done the fundamental analysis for that, and I also believe that they would rise in the next 4 or 5 years or 10 years, would be a multi-bagger for sure. But then I cannot predict everything. That's why I'm riding on the expertise of others. And that's why I have much dependence on mutual funds rather than direct stocks. So I think people should understand that you cannot become an expert in everything. If there are experts sitting and they are doing their jobs, go for that particular investment. You should go for mutual funds. You should go for this thing. Small cases are very, I would say, great way to kind of invest in stock market. So go for small cases, go for mutual funds, and then for 5, 6, 8, 10 companies wherein you have done your own analysis, then invest in those stocks. Cryptocurrency should be, I think, 4 to 5% of your total portfolio, because I think that's really, I'm not really bullish about that kind of a asset class. So that's how I have done it, and I'm sure everybody should be doing that way itself. You should be covered with your life insurances. You should be covered with your health insurances. These insurances are also very important, and I would consider these insurances as also an important way of investing. And when I say insurance as an investing, I'm not advocating about things like ULIP or something of that sort. I would say if you are spending probably 20,000 per annum or 25,000 per annum for your term insurance, that's also an investment that you're doing, right? If God forbid something happens to you, at least your family is covered, right? So I think this is how I've been doing, and I would advocate about this same strategy to be followed by youngsters.
So thank you so much, Manish sir, for being there with us. It was great having you on the show. There's so much to learn from you, and I'm pretty sure that the audience listening to this, watching this, they have also got a lot of insights from your side. So thank you so much for being there with us today. We end the session here, and it was really great talking to you.
It was great talking to you as well, Sankalp. Thank you for having me.